88% of videos on YouTube never break 1,000 views on YouTube ever in their lifetime. And if you think that stat is harsh, wait till you hear this one. Less than 100,000 channels in the entire United States have ever gotten a silver play button on YouTube like mine. I got mine while they were still big before they shrunk them in half. And today what I want to do is I want to talk to you if you're a small YouTuber and you're trying to break through on YouTube, you want to grow your channel and be successful. There are a couple of key things that are holding you back. And spoiler alert, you're not being shadow banned. Most YouTubers are what I call working class content creators. You're probably working a 9-to-5 job, or you're a full-time student, you got a family, and you make content on the side. And you're doing that with the scraps of spare energy that you have left, which is probably for most of you, 10 to 20 hours a week tops. And you're competing with full-time content creators who don't only do this 40 to 60 hours a week and nothing else with all of their energy and focus, but a lot of times they get to use other people's 40 to 60 hours a week because they have a team of possibly 3 to 10 people that are making the best content in your niche. And you shouldn't be discouraged about competing with them and thinking that there's no opportunity for you to stand out as a small YouTuber. The good news is that since in the entire world, less than 1% of all of the people uploading to YouTube, over 100 million channels worldwide, over 50 million active uploaders every single month, this is something that is not as saturated as you think. Only 3 million channels, according to the CEO of YouTube, out of all the 100 million channels in the world, are in the YouTube Partner Program. They haven't even gotten the 4,000 hours of watch time and the 1,000 subscribers to be monetized on YouTube. That is the first level of success that you get to taste as a small YouTuber, as a smaller content creator. There's plenty of room at the top for small YouTubers that bring big creator energy. And if you can manage to do that, you can start breaking through that 1,000 view ceiling. You can shatter that glass ceiling and start to get traction as a creator. But you're going to have to change your entire mindset about how you think YouTube works. First of all, there is no niche in YouTube that is as saturated as you're imagining it is, because you don't need to compete with the thousands of channels in that niche. You actually only need to compete with the 10 biggest YouTubers in your niche. Ideally, in my view, you worry about analyzing the top 5 biggest creators in your niche and figure out how to become number 6. And this is part of what I mean with big creator energy. You need to change your standards and stop identifying as a small YouTuber and start thinking about how you're going to become a destination channel in your niche, bring something that the community desperately wants, and figure out how you're going to be a value-first creator that puts the audience's desire to watch a video above your own ego about what you want to make and what you want to express. That doesn't mean you can't be authentic. That doesn't mean you can't share your point of view. It does mean you have to meet the audience where they are, put the audience first in order to win, and you have to package correctly around topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. You've heard it before, the 4 T's, but I'm gonna add a 5th T. All of this has to be for your target audience. And the thing that's holding you back on how many subscribers and views you can attract and that you can get, because again, instead of finding your audience, what about attracting your audience? We're gonna start thinking that way. So how do you bring that big creator energy that is going to attract that audience? How are you going to be attractive to your target audience? And how are you going to pick a niche that has a large enough total addressable market to get you the views and subscribers that you're looking for? Is your niche even big enough? Is your idea big enough to break through? Big creator energy. Let's start with the first thing first. I talked about the total addressable market. This is how big the capacity is around attention for the topic, idea, or community that you're going to be a part of. Usually the easiest way to figure this out is to look at the top 5 or 10 channels in your niche and figure out who the biggest people are, how big they are, what's the capacity for this niche, and are those people still growing or have they stagnated? What is the cap, what we sometimes call the market cap? What's the market cap for attention here? How big are those channels? And what's the average view floor? And what is the largest view ceiling for ideas in this community. So you're gonna wanna do your research. Just like if you were starting a business, you wanna know how big is the potential pool of customers? What would it look like if I got 1% or 10% of those customers? If there's not a channel in your niche that has over 1 million subscribers, then getting 100,000 subscribers would probably be more challenging than if you find a niche where there is that large audience. And just because somebody's already big doesn't mean there's not more room at the top. They could be tired of that person. For every creator that has 1 million subscribers, there's probably a good 10, 20% of the audience that disagrees with them. That's 100,000, 200,000 people that might be looking for a different point of view to represent them and what they feel. Like I said earlier, you're not competing with every single content creator that has ever existed. You're only competing in your vertical, and on top of that, why would you worry about everyone else who's at the bottom 90% of your vertical instead of only focusing on the top 10% of people who are winning and then just compete with them? If you were an athlete, you would set your standards of performance to say, what does it take to be a champion? What does it take to be the world champion? You wouldn't worry about mimicking the training routine of whoever's coming in 20th place in your event. You would only look at the people that have constantly been winning and who set the bar. And so when we execute on this, when we take action on this, this is choosing our target market carefully, choosing our audience, deciding who it is that we want to attract. This is called market fit. So I'm gonna give you a practical way to approach this. You've probably heard me talk about this before, but if you're new and you've never watched me, my name is Roberto Blake. I'm a content creator. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I have edited all 1,700 of my videos on this channel, and like a madman, I don't recommend it. And I've helped a lot of creators grow to over 100,000 and even a couple of creators to 1 million directly with one-on-one coaching. And I've reviewed over 5,000 channels publicly on YouTube before. And what I will tell you, we found is a common pattern is by focusing on the packaging of the videos, topic, title, thumbnail, and timing that gives you the opportunity to break through. But you have to focus on who your audience avatar is, and you have to know your audience better than anybody. And so what we mean by this and how we choose our audience, and we're going to use Ikigai to accomplish this. A lot of you, your biggest problem is that you think that all you have to do, and you've been told unfairly by successful big YouTubers, that all you have to do is pick something you're passionate about and go hard. Wrong. You can easily pick something you're passionate about and suck at it. And then you're not gonna be successful. You're not gonna grow. You actually have to be good at something that you're passionate about in order to create value for the viewer. And there's a lot of ways to be good at something. I'm not saying you have to be an expert, an authority, a guru. There are ways that you can be a guide, but be very good at sharing experience and sharing your learning along the way or your personal journey. But you would have to be very good at being a communicator or being a host or being somebody that the audience can relate to. That is a skill issue, as the kids would say. All right, so there is a skill component, and Ikigai is basically the intersectionality of here are things I'm passionate about, here are things I'm good at, here is who gets value from that, here is the community that I serve, and then finally, here is how I profit from that. Here's how I monetize that so that I don't get frustrated, so I feel rewarded and validated for what I'm doing. Because yes, in order to succeed here, you do need passion. You need to be able to stay engaged with this, not get bored, not give up, and be able to consistently improve at it, get 1% better every day. In this case, get 1% better every upload. However, you have to bring some skill already to the table here. You can't just wish you were good at these things. You have to genuinely be able to have a skill gap between you and the audience to be able to create some value for them. And I'm gonna bring you an example of smaller creators who have broken through using this. So this is gonna help you identify who you should be trying to attract as your audience, because you'll have qualities that make you attractive to them. A creator that I've coached is somebody like Juicy J, for example. He is a world champion in Clash Royale. So he's clearly passionate about the game. Clash Royale and Supercell games have a massive community, so there's a good total addressable market. He shares a passion with that community, and he actually is good at it because he's a world champion. So there's a reason to watch him And then he monetizes that properly, not just through AdSense on YouTube, but also with a community and with sponsorships. And so he's diversified enough there. He also has a creator code with the game. So you can think of that kind of like an affiliate link where he earns money if people do in-game transactions. So he's diversified and has enough different revenue streams. He handles this very well, and he's a very savvy creator. He was savvy before I ever worked with him, and he's absolutely crushing it. And that's just one example, and that's in one of the most saturated niches in YouTube, gaming. But it's very narrow, it's very specific because it is Supercell gaming, it is mobile gaming, it is Clash Royale. So he niches down into something he's passionate about, but other people are passionate about it in the same way. You don't just want like-minded people who share your interest, you want like-hearted people who share your values. This is who your community is. When I say niche down, you're not niching down to a category, you're niching down to a community of these like-minded, like-hearted people who share your interest and values and enthusiasm for something. So now you have a reason to show up for them. You are excited about the people. It is more important to be excited about the people that you are building community with and the audience that you're attracting than to be passionate about the content and subject matter itself. You need to enjoy that process of making that content enough, but the real driver will be if you are in love with your community. So I would tell you to niche down to a community of people that makes you excited and that you're happy to spend time with so you won't feel trapped. A niche is not a prison. It is a community of these like-minded, like-hearted people that you will show up for and that will make you want to do better. So then you address the skill issue because you're motivated by doing your best for them. When you do that, getting 1,000 true fans who constantly show up for you, who become those initial returning viewers to your content, becomes a lot easier to access, and it makes it easier to monetize with those people because they won't just support you with their eyeballs, they will support you with your wallet. So that is something that you're looking for. People who don't just support with eyeballs, but support with their wallet and come through for you. And you will grow and you will expand that audience. And this is how you break through and get over that hump of 10,000 subscribers initially in YouTube, something 90% of content creators fail to do. And they fail to do it because they won't put the audience first. Expression is all that matters to them instead of delivering for people they ask for attention for. So they haven't figured out that they need to be attractive to the people that they're trying to attract. That's how you grow an audience. And so the way you show up matters. Big creator energy. Don't show up with the standards and excuses that you would make because you're just getting started or you don't have the audience yet, so why try your heart out? No, we're going to go ahead and do the work to establish ourselves as early as possible as somebody worth watching so that every single time a stranger who's never seen us looks at our contents and says, you deserve more views, you deserve more subscribers, and furthermore, I'm gonna make sure that you get them. I'm gonna share this video right now. I'm gonna subscribe right now. You know what? I'm gonna put notifications on for you. That's what you're looking for, and you have to deliver a quality experience in your content to do that. Roberto, it sounds like you're putting a lot on me as a small YouTuber, as a small creator. You're asking me to do perfection, and I'm already anxious about uploading my videos. It's not perfection, it's progress. We're going to get there. Most people don't get there overnight, but also most people start this with no guidance whatsoever. And most people don't watch content, especially from educators like me, on how to grow a successful channel. Unfortunately, what they want to hear, and I get it, they want to hear from big creators who have like 10 million subscribers. What they're forgetting is a lot of those people don't remember what it was like to be a working class creator. And a lot of those people never actually had to be a working class creator very long. They didn't have to wait that long. A lot of them, they were in a position where they were a kid or where they came from some money already. So it was okay for them to drop out of school or try their heart out for 1 or 2 years because failure meant going back to mommy and daddy in the suburbs and probably working for mommy and daddy's friends. If that's not your situation, then the reality is you're going to have to probably grind a bit. You're gonna have a little bit of a struggle session as a creator. You're gonna be on the struggle bus for a little while, and that's okay. You're gonna have to grow incrementally. Most content creators who tell you quality over quantity, even from the beginning, they're missing a couple of cues here, and a lot of them are not in touch with what it's like to just not have those resources, have that opportunity, not have the time and energy to go all in on this like that. A lot of you, the only way you're gonna produce quality content is by trying and failing and learning some lessons and getting 1% better every day with every upload. However, you can actually accelerate a lot of this by being intentional and with this idea of big creator energy. And what you're gonna do to accomplish that, it's not about you getting it right the first time or being perfect. It's about the fact that we're gonna spend a little bit more prep time. We're gonna give our stuff a little bit more time to cook. And so we're gonna make sure that our presentation is on point. Our videos don't have to be perfect, but our packaging has to be the best it can be. And that's the key here of why we're gonna focus on topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. And when YouTubers say packaging, this is what they mean. And this is how we show and demonstrate value for the viewer at a glance as quickly as possible, because they don't know that we made quality content until they trust us enough to click on the video. And so to click on the video, and big YouTubers conflate quality and value. I wanna separate them because I think it makes more sense if you're a smaller YouTuber to look at value as the packaging and value for the viewer so that they can make up their mind and click on a video, and to think of quality as the experience once they're watching the video that makes them decide whether they want to commit to you, subscribe to you. If this is a good experience, they want more of it. They want to stay longer. They want to watch more videos from you. They want to support you. They want to subscribe. They want to do all those things. Only if there's quality, only if there's a good experience worth repeating. And then consistency isn't just video uploads and frequency. It's bringing that same energy every time, keeping that tone, creating that experience that they wanted over and over and over again so that they become addicted to what you got them attracted to. Does that make a little bit more sense when I say it? So we have to package for attraction and attention. And I have a system for this. I have several systems for this. So let's start with your titles and try and get through this. We'll speed run through this. We'll start with your titles, and I'm gonna just introduce you very quickly to the clicks method. So the clicks method is something we teach in Awesome Creator Academy. It really focuses on 5 key things. Concise language. So we want a title that is easy to read, simple, and reliable. Ideally less than 70 characters so it doesn't get cut off anywhere in YouTube. Probably under 60 is the best. We want to leverage psychology. So we want to really make sure that we are hitting some key things with that. For example, curiosity, could be conflict, conspiracy, confusion, and could be controversy. That's kind of low-hanging fruit, but I call that the 5 C's of clickbait. So you might want to write that one down. You want to identify with the viewer. In this case, I'm trying to make sure this video identifies with a small YouTuber. That's why it's literally also in the title. And yes, with information education videos, you can break the rule on being concise sometimes. You want to make sure that you're compelling emotion. Sometimes you want to match or mirror the feelings of the audience. You want to do keyword research. This isn't quite the same thing as SEO or making search-friendly videos. What you really want to do with the keyword research is think about what words resonate the most and are relevant to your audience, especially if you're trying to make something that's a little bit more timely. And then ideally in the video, you would have something that demonstrates status or social proof even in the title itself. A lot of times this can be an authoritative claim, like the statistic I use in this video and in other videos. I find that those are some of my videos that actually break 100,000 views in YouTube, which less than 2% of all videos on the platform have ever done. 100,000 views is actually that rare. The reason you think it's not is because the algorithm is showing you the outliers. It is showing you as part of the 90% of traffic that goes to the top 3% of channels. Yeah, you got that right. It's literally that you are so overexposed to outliers that you think everybody is getting these views. It's only the top 3%. It's kind of like how the algorithm only shows you in Instagram and stuff like that. The algorithm only shows you the lifestyles of people richer than you. subject for another day. So if you can manage that, you're gonna have more effective titles. Let's go to thumbnails now with the Vibes framework. So this is something else we teach in Awesome Creator Academy around thumbnail theory and design. So the Vibes framework stands for visually attractive at a glance. Usually that means high quality imagery, good photography. Most YouTube thumbnails in modern thumbnail design focus on photography-based thumbnails and photo manipulation more than just, putting words and text and being overly simplistic. There's a little bit more to it. Usually it revolves around posing, and often it might involve props or interacting with the environment. So visually attractive at a glance. Interesting idea at a glance. You need to be able to identify that this is interesting and triggers, again, one of those emotions or that curiosity. Then you need bold colors and you need bold text and fonts. You want to create contrast here. Good fonts for YouTube are usually Futura Bold, Oswald Bold, and good fonts for YouTube thumbnails are usually Bebas New, Futura Bold, Poppins Bold, Oswald Bold. Those are usually good fonts. I might do a video if you guys want where I tell you 15 fonts for YouTube thumbnails. That might be a good video to make. You also want eye-catching elements. You want usually 3 of these, not more, or it gets really too cluttered and too distracting. And then once again, in the thumbnail, you usually want to convey some form of status or social proof. If you're talking about money, you want something that symbolizes that in the thumbnail. If you're talking about a particular brand, you want to show that. If you're doing a product review, you want to show that you have the product in your hand and that you actually own it. Drone, for example, if you were covering the new DJI drones. So you want that sort of thing. In my case, it's very obvious. In a lot of my videos, I use the silver play button as status and social proof, or I literally use the YouTube logo and icon symbol as a form of status and social proof and something recognizable to the audience. So that's how you would leverage that. For timing, we use the RISE framework. So this is something that's more about options here. So is this something that is recent and relevant? Is this something that is in season? Is this something that happens on a yearly basis? Is this something that happens at a particular time, like a TV show release or a game release? So is this in season? Are we using spot trends? Is something happening right now that our community really cares about, that is trending, that we can take advantage of? Or is this evergreen? Is this something that if we make this video, it's gonna be relevant and get views almost indefinitely? This is a lot of my tutorial videos. Primary example would be my green screen tutorial. That video only got about 1,300 views the first day I uploaded. That video is almost to 250,000 views now, and it just keeps getting more and more views. It has been churning views for well over a year, and it's gonna keep growing the channel and keep making me money. That's how tutorial content historically works for me. So that's why, again, there are videos of mine that struggle to get 10,000 views on this channel, and there are videos of mine that get 100,000 views. The difference is not quality. The difference is how big the total addressable market is, and it's also how relevant it is to a specific group of people. It's down to packaging. It's not down to the quality of the content or the quality of the information. It's how big the market is and how many people are attracted to that idea at that time or interested or get value from that idea at that time. Choose this wisely. Okay, Roberto, so that covers topics with the clicks method. We've got timing with the RISE method, and then we've focused on the Vibes framework for thumbnails. But what about picking my topic in the first place? So if you're someone who struggles with your topics, let's focus for a minute on that audience avatar that we're trying to attract. Let's think about them for a minute. How do we create value for our ideal viewer? We have to know them and understand them and what it is that they perceive as valuable and worth their time and their attention. How do we know what this looks like? Well, we look to the community and we can look at what's already performing. We need to identify that. Now, I do have a framework you can use for this that is ironically called focus. So we're gonna focus on our audience avatar in order to find the topics appropriate to our content. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to try to identify, by the way, we're going to try to build, instead of just individual video ideas, we're gonna try to build what I usually call content pillars. So this is something that I teach. And then from there, we're gonna try to identify specific videos that I call gateway videos that are for people who have no idea who you are. So these are a way that a random person who doesn't know who you are, but is part of the same community that you're trying to attract, would value this video. And so this is what's sometimes called a capstone video or a cornerstone video. So we're gonna start with how do we find topics that qualify to help us with our content pillars. So the focus framework stands for the following. It fits the audience avatar that we talked about. You want to try to identify outlier videos that are overperforming and that the community is very attracted to. You want to make sure that you're adapting for context. You want to not just hit a topic, but you want to hit it in exactly the right way. Remember what I said, it's not enough for people to be interested in this. We want to attract people who feel the same way that we do. You're going to try to have uniqueness in this, so it's okay to pick the same topics as someone, to even address the same things as them, but you need to do it in a unique way that makes it a unique experience for your audience that only you can deliver on. And then it needs to be specific. It needs to be something that, for the most part, is something that only this audience values and cares about. That way you're laser targeted. I know people like the idea of broad audience appeal and trying to attract as many people as they can, but there's a lot that goes wrong with that. And you really don't necessarily want to attract anyone and everyone. We really do only specifically want to attract those people who share our interests, share our values, and are passionate about the same things, but in the same way. That is our ideal audience avatar. So we want to only attract people we want to keep around. At least that's the concept we're going with. Now, when it comes to identifying and finding these outliers, you can do this the good old-fashioned way like I did for many, many years. Or there is a tool that you can use. I'm going to link to my affiliate link for it. It is called oneof10.com. I have an affiliate link that gets you 50% off if you use code Roberto at checkout, or you can get a free trial, try it before you buy it, with code AWESOME at checkout. So we use one of 10, and we can use things like the niche finder. We can actually use the thumbnail research tool. We can also try to find similar topics. We can use the tools in one of 10 to help us when it comes to identifying these outliers, videos that are overperforming. Ideally, I like to look for videos that got a high threshold of views in the last 90 days. And I try to look for those views to come from channels that aren't already massively established, but are overperforming for their size. For many of you, yes, you should research the top 5 channels in your niche, like I said, but you should also now pick 5 channels that are growing. Maybe they're in the 10,000 subscriber range, but they're getting more views than they have subscribers, and they've been able to do that on certain videos in the last 90 days. You can put those parameters into one of 10 and it will deliver results for you. So that would be something that I would recommend as a way to help you identify outliers and to help you narrow your focus for video ideas. This is a really good ideation tool. That's its primary feature in my opinion, and so that will help you. Beyond that, it also will help you with the standards because you can sit there and collect, here's the thumbnails that resonated with my audience avatar and what they responded to, what they were willing to click on, what they were willing to give attention to. This is gonna help you with my standard of big creator energy of, I will make sure that I refuse to release a video no matter how much editing I put into it until the packaging and thumbnail is of the standard of a thumbnail that has been proven to get X amount of views. I would recommend making your thumbnails the standard of the videos that consistently get 100,000 views in your niche. It's not for you to take on that person's thumbnail style. It is for you to have the quality standard so that your thumbnail is competitive and doesn't look out of place next to those thumbnails. You don't want to be the person that is underdressed in the room, because then you stand out for the wrong reasons. Think of this as a content creator, dress for the job you want. In this case, dress for the views you want instead of for the views you have. If you keep thinking like a small YouTuber, you're going to stay a small YouTuber. If you bring big creator energy and you change your standards and say, would I accept this from myself if I already had 100,000 subscribers in terms of my packaging and the effort that I put in, or if I was paying somebody $150 to make me a thumbnail, would I accept this thumbnail for them and cash in that invoice? Would I pay them $150 for this thumbnail? If the answer is no, it's back to the drawing board, and it might even be back to, I need to refine my skills and ability. I need to level up a little bit. Again, skill issue. And that's why I'm making this video. This video is about exactly how you need to execute. I told you exactly how to execute on proper titles. I told you how to find and narrow your topics by giving you a framework called focus. I told you what a good thumbnail is going to have as far as its major 5 qualities with the vibes framework. And I gave you a strategy with the clicks method for designing title structures that are effective, because instead of worrying about the algorithm and worrying about search, you're gonna leverage the psychology of human beings. You're going to either mirror the emotions of the audience or trigger an emotion in them that compels the click. You want to compel emotion, and you can get the click by doing that. You want to leverage psychology. And again, a lot of times, if they can understand it at a glance, that's the key here. And so all of these things make the value of our videos much more attractive and demonstrate that we're putting value out there for the viewer that we want to attract in the first place. And so this is how you're going to break through. The reason so many creators struggle is because they don't put in the time to learn to write better titles. They don't bring big creator energy and set up the packaging and the thumbnail to have the standard that they would accept from themselves if they had 100,000 or 1 million subscribers, or were paying $150 for this thing. They just don't. You will rise or fall to your standards, and you will rise and fall to your systems. That is why I'm giving you the systems that I've used over and over to help other creators be successful. And by the way, this does work for smaller content creators. It doesn't just work for people who are already huge like Juicy J or who are world champions. I got another Clash Royale player to throw at you just to make a point here, because everyone says that gaming is so oversaturated and so impossible. The reality is a lot of people are just not good at this. It's a skill issue. In the same way they're not good at gaming, is why they're not a ranked player, a champion. But let's take a small YouTuber that I worked with a couple of months ago, Abdude. It's spelled a little weird. He's another Clash Royale player. And if you look at his channel, he's getting far more views than he has subscribers. And this is something he's been able to normalize. And that's after he pivoted from Clash Mini. Once that game wasn't gonna go global, he knew that the total addressable market for it was gonna be non-existent. So what'd he do? He went into one of the more popular games. It is competitive, and there are a lot of large creators in that game and niche, but he brought unique value to that niche, and he didn't play the game as if he was a small YouTuber who didn't deserve views. And you can see that this has made him massively successful in his own right. Just a few months ago, he had less than 4,000 subscribers, and he's absolutely killing it. And while this video focuses so much on the value for the viewer, it's because that's the barrier to getting views and understanding what the limits of your total addressable market is. You have watched, probably, if this isn't your first time watching me, enough videos for me to know that the quality across my videos does not really change. The reason that the views change, because this happens with education content if you're not an entertainer, because the value isn't necessarily you, it's what you're talking about. So this is more, let's say, content driven than personality driven. Entertainment content is largely, at some point, going to become personality driven. If you're an educator and you're not going full tilt on edutainment, then there's going to be somewhat of a barrier, especially with tutorial or how-to content. I do have advice on that, by the way. However, the quality is not what's in question. Even my own channel is proof of that. The consistency of views won't come from just making quality content. It will come from making content that the same people value and have the same value proposition. The problem with teaching content creators in that way, by the way, if I want consistent views, is that there are 8 arms of the octopus that have to be mastered to be a content creator full time, because this is not one job. The 8 things that make you a full-time content creator could all be full-time jobs. Don't ever let someone tell you content creation isn't a real job, because it's actually 8 of them, which is why people burn out, exhausted, overwhelmed if they don't get a team soon enough. More on that in another video. So you can make great videos over and over and over again. But if you're wondering, why did this video that I worked on for 2 hours get more views than this video that I worked on for 20 hours? The answer for you, the creator, is that more people valued that thing than the other thing. And that's all it was. That's why we focus so much on packaging, because much like in the real world, as harsh as a lesson as it is you can be the nicest person in the world. You can be the smartest person in the world. You could be the sweetest person in the world. But if there isn't that initial attraction at a glance, 99% of the time, they won't give you a chance. So if you're not attractive at a glance, they won't give you or your content a chance. And as sad as that is, it's a truth that you should embrace, and you should do all the work necessary to make sure that you're not passed over. And that's why I want you to focus so much on this idea of bringing big creator energy right off the bat and having the confidence and standards of a much larger creator. Treat yourself like someone who already has a silver or gold play button, and it will arrive a lot sooner. This doesn't mean you let yourself be paralyzed by perfectionism. It means that as far as the packaging goes, you just have to put in much more effort and much more work than you were thinking, and don't expect your editing skills or your production value to carry you. That's an after the fact experience. That's what quality is, the after the fact experience. I can't see what a quality video looks like until I give it a chance and click on it, in the same way I can't get to know what a quality individual you are if you don't get my attention and I pass you over. Because not interesting enough, not attractive enough at a glance, not bold enough to get my attention, no status or social proof to use as leverage, not catching my eye. Those things are just human behavior and psychology, which is why you need to stop blaming the algorithm and realize that you're not doing the work necessary to attract the audience that you want. And if you change that mindset, you will change your fate as a creator, and you will stop being a struggle bus creator and finally get the attention that you deserve. Quality content deserves better packaging. So make sure you're dressing for the views you want instead of the views that you have. Don't be lazy on presentation. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like. Check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, but also we have another set of free value for you. I know we got into some very deep topics and you might want more. We have a free course called Creator Foundations over at awesomecreatoracademy.com. We have a lot of other free and affordable resources, so make sure you're checking out the free course. I'm gonna link it in the description of this video. Stay awesome, and I will catch you next time. Take care.